Good evening, this is Rastaxam Zaka Jacob. A total of 92 members of parliament were suspended today for the remainder of the winter session, 46 each from the Lok Sabha and from the Rajya Sabha. Now, this is the highest number of MPs who've been suspended in a single session of parliament since parliament began functioning 75 years ago. The Treasury benches say that this was for unruly behavior, for holding placards and hurling abuses at the chair, both the Speaker and the Vice President in the Rajya Sabha. The opposition says that this is the death of democracy. Who is responsible for the single biggest suspension of MPs since Parliament began functioning in India?
सारे नेता सस्पेंड, हाँ मैं भी सस्पेंड हो चुके हैं सुबह से और कई दिनों से। हमारा मांग बड़ा सीधे मांग कि एक तो ये कि हमारे जितने एमपीज को निलंबित किए गए हैं उनको बहाली हो और सदन में आकर हमारे गृह मंत्री एक बयान दे।
देश की सुरक्षा का मसला है, सिर्फ संसद की इमारत का नहीं है। एक आधिकारिक बयान नहीं दे सकते हो? क्या चाहते हो? विपक्ष मुक्त संसद आपने बना लिया, लोकसभा में उतने किए, राज्यसभा में 45 कर दिए। जो बचे खुचे हैं कल कर देना, लेकिन याद रखे जाओगे, ये दौर याद रखा जाएगा।
कई मान्य सदस्य प्लैकार्ड लेके दोनों हाउस, दोनों सदनों में आए। बार बार अनुरोध किया गया, मान्य सदस्यों को अपील करी गई कि वो अपने सीट पर बैठ के बोले। बार बार अपील किया गया कि प्लैकार्ड लेके ना आए।
The opposition says is that the Modi government is attacking parliament and that democracy is dying a slow death because of the number of MPs who've been suspended in one go. What the government is saying is that the MPs were showing utter disregard for either house, the Lok Sabha Speaker in the Lok Sabha and of course the Vice President in the Rajya Sabha. What the opposition is also saying is that the MPs were suspended to try and suppress the voice of the opposition. The government is defending the move by saying that the MPs were displaying placards in the well of the House, which they are expressly prohibited from doing. The opposition also says that they want to know what steps are being taken to secure Parliament after the Parliament security breach that happened last Wednesday. The government says opposition MPs were not letting the House function, deliberately so, for a number of days despite repeated requests. Opposition claims that the government has zero accountability left to the Parliament of India and this has now become an opposition-mukt Sansad. What the government says is that the opposition is insecure as they do not have any agenda against the government. Now, let's try and understand the rules under which these MPs have been suspended for the remainder of the winter session. First up, in the Lok Sabha, the Speaker, as per rule number 374, the Speaker is well within his right to suspend any member under Article 374. The conditionality that has to be met is for unruly behavior by the said member, he or her, and abuse of rules of parliamentary procedure that have been set very clearly in both houses. Now, the suspension of the tenure, as ordered by the Speaker, cannot be for more than the remainder of that ongoing session. In this case, the winter session, which lasts till the end of this week. Now, the Rajya Sabha has a different set of rules and procedures when it comes to the power of the chair, which is also different for suspension of members. The chairman can ask an MP to immediately leave from the House. If the said MP does not leave, then the chairman can direct the marshals to forcibly remove the member of parliament, as was evident last week in the Derek O'Brien case. But the chairman in the Rajya Sabha does not have the power to suspend a member. That has to happen after a motion which is tabled under Rule 255 in the business of conduct of the Rajya Sabha for express suspension of any said MP. Once that motion is passed, and usually it's passed by a voice vote, the MP then is suspended for willfully obstructing business, disregarding the authority of the chair and abusing the rules of business of conduct of the House. And here too, the person can only be suspended for the remainder of the said session. Now, amid all of this, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge has slammed the centre and its decision to suspend 92 MPs. He's put his demand forth on Twitter, and this is part of our Motorola India's Best 5G Smartphones tweet of the day.
Hello, Moto.
This is what Mr. Kharge has tweeted, and I quote from it. We have two simple and genuine demands. The Union Home Minister should make a statement in both houses of Parliament on the inexcusable breach in Parliament security, and a detailed discussion should be held on the same. That is what Mr. Kharge's demand is as far as Parliament is concerned. Now, this is not the first instance where a mass number of MPs have been suspended in one go. In 1989, 63 MPs were suspended from the Lok Sabha. This was at the height of the Bofors scandal. Rajiv Gandhi was in power at that time. 63 members were suspended from the Lok Sabha. In 2019, 45 members were suspended for unruly behavior. This was again just right after the 2019 general elections. Between 2014, in 2014, 16 members were suspended under the then UPA government. Again, this happened just before the 2014 Lok Sabha elections. In 2013, when the UPA 2 was in power, 12 members were suspended for 5 days. In 2021, again, 12 MPs were suspended for violent behavior. This is when MPs were caught on camera assaulting a marshal in the Rajya Sabha. 12 opposition MPs at that time were suspended. So, the big question tonight, 92 MPs, 46 from the Lok Sabha, 46 from the Rajya Sabha have been suspended. Who is derailing Parliament?
Hello, Moto.
All right, joining us now on the debate topic tonight, let's introduce our full panel. Manikam Tagore is a suspended Lok Sabha Member of Parliament of the Congress Party. Dr. Mahua Maji is suspended Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament of the JMM. N.K. Premachandran is a suspended Lok Sabha MP from the RSP Party. Shehzad Poonawala, National Spokesperson of the BJP, and Smita Prakash is editor of the news agency ANI. Mr. Manikam Tagore, let me start with you first. The contention by the Speaker in the Lok Sabha, the house that you belong to, and the contention by the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha in the upper house is that the said members who were suspended, 46 in either house, were grossly misusing the rules of the house. They were showing placards in the well of the house. They were shouting abusive slogans against the chair, and they were given repeated warnings which was ignored. That is why the respecting presiding officers had no choice but to suspend these MPs. How do you respond to that?
Thank you. December 4th, after the assembly results came, the parliament resumed until December 13th. For the 10-day sitting, parliament was functioning, all the bills have been passed, many issues has been discussed, question hour was happening. On December 13th, the parliament security breach happened, and we demanded, the opposition parties demanded that the Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah must come and make a statement. That was the demand. Next day we gave an adjournment motion for that same thing, that Mr. Amit Shah must come to the parliament and make a statement. By that time it was known that the BJP MP Mr. Pratap Sinha facilitated the entrance of the intruders into the parliament. Therefore, we wanted the Home Minister to come to the Parliament and make a statement. What is wrong in it? Now, we had been, on that day, we had been suspended. 14 of us has been suspended. Because we demanded that Mr. Amit Shah must come to the Parliament, and his failure cannot be hidden by some kind of diversionary tactics. Usually, the government approaches. And
no, but
we
Mr.
demanded
Tagore,
that Mr.
the contention of the Lok Sabha Speaker today in suspending the remainder of your colleagues was that you folks were given repeated warnings not to come to the well of the house, not to show placards in the well of the house, not to have slogans against the chair. Repeatedly, this warning was given by the Lok Sabha Speaker and by the Rajya Sabha Vice Chairman, and those warnings were ignored. Therefore, you are facing suspension today.
Our demand, we have to understand that our demand was that the Home Minister, after the Parliament security breach, must come to Parliament and make a statement. Parliament is not a notice board. Parliament is a place where the opposition demand and treasury benches must respond. When they are not ready to respond, and the Home Minister who is in town till now has not come to the Parliament for the past 4 days, and he has given an interview to a private channel in Delhi, speaking about the same issue.
Okay.
Why the Parliament has been denigrated? Why Parliament is becoming a Gujarat Assembly style model like institution?
Shehzad Poonawalla,
you're
reducing Parliament to some kind of an assembly. You are making this an opposition Mukt Sansad. 92 MPs, 46 from each house is the highest number of MPs who have been suspended in a single session of Parliament. Surely that's not a record you should be proud of.
Razaka, the record is of record indiscipline, and therefore I think when the prefix honorable is added to MPs, before you say MP, we say honorable MP, if their conduct is far less than honorable, then I think that a record indiscipline will call for a record action. And surely Manikam Tagore, who spent considerable time in Parliament, would know that these decisions are not taken by government, they are taken by the Speaker and by the consensus of the House. And therefore, when the 63 MPs were suspended in 1988-89, surely he wouldn't say that it was the Rajiv Gandhi government that suspended them. Surely in 2014, when 18 MPs were suspended, they were not suspended by the Manmohan Singh government, they were suspended by the Speaker, Meera Kumarji. So I think these are actions taken by the Speaker. Is it not a fact, by the way, that even the Parliamentary Bulletin of July 23, which I have a copy of, says very clearly, and I'll read out one line from it, placards are strictly prohibited inside the Parliament House complex. Was Mr. Manikam Tagore aware of this particular Parliamentary Bulletin and law rule that has been enforced with consensus of all the parties? Now, I'm very confused. What is exactly Congress's stand? Does Congress actually consider this to be a serious issue? If they do consider this a serious issue, Zaka, here is RJD leader Shivanand Tiwari saying ye koi bada aparadh nahi. Mr. Sanjay Raut has said ye to bhule bhatke naujawan hai. Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has said that this is because of berozgari. And secondly, also I'm confused, Manikam Tagore ji, suspended MP, has said, like Jairam Ramesh, that there should be statement by the HM. On the other hand, you have Mr. Khadge, and I'm showing you the tweet of Mr. Khadge. He says, point number 2 in the street, a detailed discussion should be held on the same. Zaka, have you ever heard of a detailed discussion that takes place on an ongoing investigation? In 1974, 78,
no,
84,
Shehzad,
94,
one second,
Shehzad,
one second, Shehzad, one second, hang on. You are saying that indiscipline is a bigger issue than the security breach. So indiscipline means that this is like a high school assembly, you're going to pick MPs one by one and suspend them. Is this still a democracy or is it a high school assembly? First, you decide that. Second, what the opposition is saying is a basic demand, which, by the way, you forgot to mention point number 1 of what Mr. Khadge has tweeted. His point number 1 is that such a big parliamentary security breach has happened. What is wrong with asking for the Home Minister's statement in Parliament when the House is in session? Home Minister is making statements in private TV channels. He should be making it in Parliament when Parliament is in session. Yes.
Let me address, Zaka, may I address those questions, please?
Yes.
Will you give me 30 seconds, please? May I address them? Yeah. Zaka, you said that, is this a high school assembly, that indiscipline is more important than raising the issue? Are you, Zaka, saying that the entire issues that are raised in Parliament can only be raised by resorting to breaking of rules of Parliament? Point number 1. Point number 2.
No, but you are not listening to their demand. No, if you are not listening to their demand, then what do? They have to come with
Zaka,
placards to the well of the House.
Zaka, you'll have to be little patient, my friend.
Okay.
You'll have to be little patient. There are 3 other people on the same side.
Sure.
You have called me. I'm trying to answer. If you interrupt me, it will take more time.
No, but
I'll finish in 20 seconds.
You are making it sound like, you know, your
Zaka,
the demands of the opposition.
Seconds,
the demands of the opposition have been met. The
Zaka,
demands of the opposition have not been met. No.
We are wasting time. Let me answer.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, may I answer now?
Yes, please.
Zaka, 2018-19. They demanded discussion on Mehengai. We said, come, let's have discussion on Mehengai. They went on to Rafale. Rafale, the Supreme Court verdict came. They still went on to Rafale and they started doing this kind of disruption in the House. Then they wanted discussion on COVID. We said, let's have discussion on COVID. They went on to issue of Pegasus. Then when Pegasus Supreme Court gave a verdict, they went on to the issue of BBC, Adani. When the Supreme Court gave decision on Adani issue, they went on to the issue of Manipur. When we said, let's have discussion on Manipur, they came with 267 rule. Prime Minister must speak, which was not available in the rule. And when we said let's have discussion on Manipur, no confidence motion was brought. They did not listen to the reply on Manipur, and in fact they were allowing the discussion on Delhi services bill, but they did not want to allow discussion on Manipur at that point of time. What kind of scenes were created? So do they want discussion or disruption? Do they want consensus or confrontation? And last 10 seconds, Zaka, just 10 seconds, please indulge me. Zaka, in 74, 94, 2004 to 14, several such incidents have taken place. Tell me one instance in which it's not the speaker but the home minister or the prime minister of that time came out and gave a detailed statement, or during an ongoing investigation came and did a discussion or debate.
Okay.
If there is any precedent to this, please show me. Or if there is no precedent, then please ask Mr. Manikam Tagore. Once that's said,
my understanding
fact, I'll tell
is
you what is happening,
that in
Zaka,
2001, once again, in
Zaka,
2001, when the parliament was attacked, a detailed statement was made by then Home Minister Mr. L.K. Advani on the floor of the House. Anyway, let me go across to N.K. Premachandran. N.K. Premachandran. One second. I've got other two panelists also. Please, Shehzad, I've indulged you enough. Let me go across to Mr. N.K. Premachandran. N.K. Premachandran, 46 MPs from the Lok Sabha, 46 MPs from the Rajya Sabha, total of 92 MPs have been suspended. You happen to be one of them. The Speaker in the Lok Sabha, the House that you belong to, the Vice President in the Rajya Sabha, Vice Chairman of the House, they are both saying that you are in violation of Rule 374 in the Lok Sabha conduct of business rules, and in the Rajya Sabha in violation of Rule 255. And these rules are explicit, they are very clear that members cannot storm the well of the House, they cannot display placards in the well of the House, they cannot use offensive language against the presiding officer. These rules are very, very clear. You are a veteran parliamentarian, you are well versed with these rules. Having indulged in this behavior, why do you now cry democracy is in danger? Because you indulged in rank unparliamentary behavior. What else would you expect the presiding officer to have done?
No, this is quite strange action on the part of the government. Moving motion to suspend the members of parliament from the both houses of parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. You see, every day the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Mr. Prahlad Joshi, is moving motion. For the misconduct of the members have to be expelled or suspended from the House. You have to see, whenever there is what is the convention and precedent of this House? Whenever there is a disruption or a deadlock in the Parliament, it is the duty and the responsibility of the government to convene the all-party floor leaders meeting and try their level best to get a consensus among the political parties, and the deadlock will be resolved. This is the convention of the democratic convention of the House. But here in this case, the House, the Parliament is attacked, and we have never heard of such an attack, and the government is not ready and willing to come out with an open statement in the House. And whether when we are protesting, when the opposition, it is the primary responsibility of the opposition is to make protest.
Okay.
And when we make some demands, whether it is just, genuine or unjust, whatever it may be, what is the role of the government? The government has to see, in the presence of the Speaker, let us have a consensus on the issue, or try to compromise, or try to resolve the dispute by an amicable settlement.
Instead
of that, what they are doing every day, the Parliamentary Affairs Ministry is coming with a motion suspending number of MPs from the House. They want to expel all the members from the House, and they want to transact
the contention by the opposition MPs is it's the job of the government to run the House. If nothing else, an all-party floor leaders meeting should be called every day to try and arrive at some kind of consensus. And if that consensus is elusive, then yes, the government will have to find a way to make the House run. Now, Mr. Premachandran and Mr. Tagore's contention is the government has not made any effort to try and reach a consensus on this pressing issue. And instead, all that the government representatives, the treasury benches are doing is to bring motion to suspend various opposition members of parliament. Smita Prakash, 92 MPs, it's the single biggest instance of MPs in one session being suspended. Does the opposition have a point in saying democracy is in danger, or is it that, they've been losing election after election, including the recent 5 state assembly elections, therefore they have no other legs to stand on, and now they are creating this whole thing about democracy in danger?
Well, Well, undoubtedly, suspensions in such a large number doesn't really bode well for the smooth functioning or any kind of functioning of the parliamentary proceedings in the remaining winter session, the 5 days, I think, of this session, or in the next few months. Frankly, if you see for the before the next general election, I agree that smooth functioning of the parliament is the job of the ruling party, and it seems like new rules are being written for the new parliament, or to be precise, that existing rules, if what Shehzad had said, existing rules are being enforced when the norm had become flouting of those rules. It's not just a new building. You know, a few months back we saw a new building being brought about, inaugurated with a lot of fanfare, but clearly it was not just bricks and mortar that went into forming this building. There's more to it. There will be new benchmarks, it appears, and one of them is that the existing law, which is that rushing to the well of the house, placards and sloganeering, disruptions, it will not be magnanimously ignored as it was in the past, maybe with just a mild reprimand or a token suspension for the day or for the rest of the session. It's going to be more than that. One has seen, bizarre scenes earlier, Zaka, which we've all seen for not just a few years, for decades.
The opposition's contention is that their basic demand, which is that this breach has happened and the Home Minister should make a statement, the government is not willing to consider it at all. Therefore, what else do you expect them to do other than to do these attention-catching exercises like going to the well of the house, shouting, sloganeering, placarding, etc.?
No, I beg to differ. Look, I understand that it's like for the opposition, it may seem like they are against a brick wall. But if I was to, it's not right to have apples and oranges, but I will still give this expression that when I was in college, there was strike. For a whole year, there was a strike. It was that year when it was almost a 0 year. And for many of us who were taking entrance exams for further going abroad or studying for UPSC or whatever the reason, could that be an option that we'd go and burn down the office or go and disrupt or break down things in the university? No, we didn't do that. All you can do is protest, yes, but not inside the premises of the college. We were told you do it outside. You cannot do it within the campus. There are certain rules and regulations. And what had happened was that those rules and regulations were not being followed. They were. So now it seems as if that those rules and regulations will be followed to the T. It's like giving the password. What Mahua had done. The point is, what she was saying is everybody used to do it. So what have I done wrong? The point is that there was a law that you're not supposed to give it. So it's that. The security breach is just one of the flags that is it. There will be an inquiry. They will take it. But the BJP will not. It is quite obvious that from now till January, they will not be dictated to. Just because the opposition is saying do
Mr.
it now,
Tagore,
the Home Minister should come, the Prime Minister should come.
Let me ask Manikam Tagore.
They won't.
You know, these rules are always there, sir, and you're a veteran parliamentarian. Surely you know Rule 354 and Rule 255, the suspension of members of parliament in both houses. If these rules were given some kind of benign neglect, in previous years, doesn't mean that these rules will not get enforced. Now that these rules are getting enforced. So too bad you're on the receiving side of it. Manikam Tagore.
No, it is very completely different to compare a college to parliament. All the MPs sit together and they framed the rules. And each one of us are elected by the people. We are not students. We are responsible people. We represent a constituency. I represent 1.5 million voters. Therefore, we are all responsible people. We come here to raise the issues of our people and the country. We wanted to discuss, and we are part of a lawmaking process. We are lawmakers. We all know it. Therefore, only I started with it in the beginning. From December 4th till December 13th, all was going fine. And every agenda was discussed, question hour, 0 hour, 377, bills were passed. No disturbance. Why this 13 came? Because 13 there was a security breach. BJP MP Pratap Sinha on pass of that, Pratap Sinha two intruders came into the parliament. We asked the Home Minister to make a statement. Who else we can ask to make a statement?
The contention by even the Lok Sabha Speaker is he's already ordered an inquiry under DGCRPF. Wait for the results of that inquiry. And since the Speaker is the presiding officer of the House, he has said whatever needs to be said on this matter.
That's the sad part of it. The government, the failure of Amit Shah, the failure of the Home Minister. Delhi police checks the intruder who has come into the parliament, has been checked by the Delhi police. Who Delhi police reports? It is Mr. Amit Shah.
Okay.
Mr. Amit Shah is responsible for that thing.
Shehzad.
Instead, why they are bringing in the speaker here? Speaker is nowhere in the picture.
Shehzad,
Speaker's men, the security parliamentary staff doesn't check those people.
Speaker
we have
is
to
not,
understand it.
Speaker
They
is not the
don't
custodian
physically
of
touch a person.
Speaker is not the custodian of the security of the House. Security comes under the government's prerogative, under the government's purview. So that's why the opposition has been asking for a government representative to make that statement. The Speaker is not in charge of security of the Parliament building.
Zaka, first of all, I too have served in Parliament as an OSD of the Minister of State of Parliamentary Affairs. So I know about parliamentary rules and parliamentary conduct to a certain extent. And therefore, I can say with utmost conviction that it is the Speaker of the Lok Sabha who is not just the custodian of things that take place within Parliament, but he is also the administrative head, and he also controls the parliamentary secretariat of the entire Parliament and the parliamentary premises. And therefore, 1974, 84, 94, whenever egregious incidents took place with people entering with bombs, at that time too the Speaker constituted a committee. Never was the Home Minister or the Prime Minister making any statements. Even in 2001, by the way, when a statement was made, a government has made a statement, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister has made a statement 2023. What is only common is that in 2001 they were defending Afzal Guru, and in 2023 they are defending Neelam Azad and Lalit Shah. Now, secondly, Zaka, I want to just reiterate that in the beginning of the show, Mr. Manikam Tagore made a very unhealthy, unwholesome comparison, saying that this is not Gujarat Assembly. Are you telling me Gujarat Assembly, the reflection of crores of people, is something that you will humiliate and denigrate on a national television platform? I take strong objection, and I will not be responsible if the Gujarat Assembly perhaps considers moving contempt or privilege proceedings against this gentleman. And you are finding it difficult, the comparison with college students, but you are comparing and saying that Gujarat Assembly has no meaning. This is the disdain. Zaka, I think I am having a serious discussion, and I think I should be allowed to have this. Zaka, on the one hand, Mr. Revant Reddy insults Biharis. On the other hand, Manikam Tagore
I need to reply. These kind of these things I can't keep on listening. Yeah, we are
Zaka, I would
responsible
appreciate
people.
if I am not disturbed. This is your show. Zaka, I would appreciate if I am not disturbed. This is a responsible
Jokers.
show with responsible panelists here. May I continue, Zaka? Very quickly?
Go ahead.
Zaka,
Finish your point.
two very quick points. Two very quick points. Zaka, Premachandran ji just now spoke about precedents and convention. Precedent and convention also indicates that when the initial part of the investigation is going on, how should Home Minister even come to Parliament and start doing running commentary on an ongoing investigation? Once the Speaker submits the report to the Parliament, at that time would be an appropriate stage for a person like Home Minister to speak. It is not Congress government that 26/11 hua nahi to blame the Hindus before investigation is over. Samjhauta hua nahi, blame the Hindus before investigation is over. You can't be jumping the gun in initial stage of investigation, point number one. And point number two, as much as Parliament's running is on this on the responsibility on the government, it is not my way or highway. It can't be autocracy of a hostile minority that takes hostage Parliament and says mere way ya no way. If only this is done. They wanted discussion.
Let me go back.
And they wanted Prime Minister to
you made that point in your earlier answer. You made that point in your earlier answer, Mr. Premchandran. I come back to the genesis of this current suspension moment, because after the security breach happened, which was on 13th of December last Wednesday, the opposition has been insisting that the Home Minister make a statement. Now, the Speaker has already said he's the presiding officer, he's the custodian of the House. He has, I think, spoken on this issue twice, once last week and once this week, and where he has said that he's already ordered an inquiry under DGCRPF. Let the inquiry come, and I believe it's going to be a time-bound one. Within 15 days, there will be a report that will be tabled to the Speaker, and it's up to the Speaker to decide what to do about that report, table it in the House. Now, the point is that if the Speaker has already issued directions for an inquiry, and the Speaker has said that that report will be tabled before the House. How can a discussion happen before that report is tabled? Before you find out what was the reason for the security breach? Why is the opposition not convinced by that?
No, we cannot fully convince with the argument of the Honorable Speaker. Why, I will tell you. Because this warning was made on 6th December. And a warning was given by the Khalistan movement leader in Canada that on 13th December 2023, the Parliament will be attacked to shake the foundation of Indian parliamentary system. And the Delhi police chief on the same day commented to the press people, PTI in particular, that we are alert and we got the information and all precautionary measures were taken so as to address the situation, combat the situation. This is the statement of the Delhi police chief. Who is controlling the Delhi police chief? It is not the security and safety of the parliament alone, but as far as the whole country, especially the national capital is concerned. When such a threat is there, what precautionary measures did the government has taken, the security agencies, the intelligence agencies, whether or not aware of all these issues?
But by the way, I'd like to clarify also that the lawyers, the prosecution lawyers have presented the case in court while asking for custody of these accused persons. They have said that they have no terror links. This is the contention of the lawyers. And this has nothing to do with Khalistani terrorists or any other terrorists that you refer to. But let me go back to Smita Prakash. Smita Prakash, so is this? I'm coming. I'll give you the final word. Just give me. But Smita, the point is that are we now full and well and truly in election season? That neither from the opposition side nor from the government side is there any interest in running this house? The 17th Lok Sabha will be over in a matter of a few months. No one's interested in passing bills anymore. Let's go back to the people, let the people decide and come back afresh for the 18th Lok Sabha.
Oh no, two things in this. One, the first point, pehle, that about whether bills will be passed or not. I think there are just 4 months left, and I think major bills will be passed. Whether that happens after fruitful discussions or not is up to the opposition, frankly. But I think BJP has a number of bills that they are working on, and they will pass that with or without discussion. If the discussion happens in the manner which the BJP envisages will be the future of parliamentary democracy, which is that they are, and this is what is my surmise. I have not been briefed. I am not speaking on behalf of the BJP. This is my surmise that they want to bring about that, you know, the earlier era of civil decorous manner of speeches and discussions and debate which used to happen. They want to restore parliamentary democracy to that, where it was polite discussion without the dramatics which we have seen, which is like jumping on desks and screaming and yelling their lungs out, and absurd manner of speeches, which everybody, you take your camera today, Zaka, and go to the people, and you will see everybody saying that they were disgusted with the manner it was being handled. Now, I'm not saying that the response should be just suspend the entire opposition. No, that's not good for parliamentary democracy. But the system of the way discussions were held in parliament was extremely incongruous to the nature of a democracy that we deserve, right? So the BJP believes that they want to restore parliament. Now, respectful civil debate is what is going to be the BJP demanding of the opposition. If the opposition does not agree, and if they continue to do what they used to do, I think the BJP is just going to push forward with their bills with or without the opposition cooperating with them. That I see happening in the next 5 months.
Final word to you and to Shehzad Poonawalla after that. But you know, ultimately, net, what matters is that the more the opposition strength gets reduced in Parliament, the more dramatic and more theatrical your opposition and your protests seem to be, and the more dramatic and theatrical and against the rules your protests are in the House, then you will invite yourself for suspension, like 46 of your colleagues in the Lok Sabha have today. So why are you blaming the government? If you are able to win in elections, then you won't have to deal with the brute majority of the BJP, and that will perhaps even temper their response to disruptions that you make in Parliament. Ultimately, it boils down to the opposition is on a weaker and weaker footing electorally, including after these recent round of assembly elections. And the weaker you become, the more dramatic your protests become. And therefore, you invite suspension. Mr. Tagore?
It is nothing like that. We are speaking about parliamentary democracy and India's parliamentary democracy. It is not the party politics we are speaking. Every party, even Arun Jaitley ji has mentioned that disruption is a method. Therefore, we have to understand that opposition politics has evolved like this only. And opposition politics on issues which the opposition parties which wanted to take up that issues has had this kind of various parts into it. And when the television part came into picture, live televisions and others, this has come into the next level. Therefore, but now what we are speaking is the Prime Minister of India comes only once in 1 year, makes only one speech. He doesn't answer any questions. In his life in 9 years, he has never attended one question in question hour. And the Home Minister of India comes and provokes people and speaks about some other thing to divide people. Nothing else does any positive part. There are ministers who are functionable ministers, who are potential ministers. They are not allowed to do that thing. But main thing is, what we are saying is, from December 4th to 13th, the parliament was functioning. From 13th, the BJP MP gave pass to the intruders. And the BJP spokesperson is saying that we are supporting Neelam Jha, but the pass was given by your BJP MP.
Yeah, Shehzad,
you have to understand it.
Please
Let
respond.
us have some kind of responsibility.
Why
These
should
kind
the
of things
opposition
is not acceptable.
not ask a question as to why your MP or BJP MP is given the pass? It's on his recommendation that these two fellows entered, and that gentleman has been MIA since. He's not made a single public statement.
I'll answer that question too. First of all, they keep quoting Arun Jaitley ji and Sushma Swaraj ji. Can they show me one instance where Arun Jaitley ji and Sushma Swaraj ji ran to the well of the house or held up placards? And by the way, Manmohan Singh ji at that time used to give the advice that running of the house is everybody's duty. So Manikam Tagore, I'm glad you're adopting Arun Jaitley ji as your political leader now, not Manmohan Singh. You should have done that long back. Anyways, having said that, you know what is the problem? It is the competitive intra-alliance politics. 4th to 13th, rightly said by Mr. Manikam Tagore, nothing happened because first TMC started the entire drama. Derek O'Brien did it. Now they thought that if Derek O'Brien does everything, TMC is looking like the leader, then what happens to Congress? So Congress said that if TMC goes and does this kind of disruption, we will do one better. And this is the intra-alliance competitive politics of grabbing attention and eyeballs and becoming leader in the meeting that they are having tomorrow. And therefore they are going to this kind of behavior step by step by step. So Mr. Manikam Tagore, you're absolutely right. Till 13 December, you all were behaving. Moment you saw Derek O'Brien take one step forward, DMK take 2 steps forward, then Manikam Tagore thought that how can I stay behind? And now coming to Pratap Simha ji, look, Pratap Simha and everybody else will be inquired to ask whether he was misled in giving the pass or whether he gave the pass and it was his error, whatever it is. But having said that, Manikam ji, I did not interrupt you. I did not interrupt you. This is the basic decency you should have.
You don't take my name again and again as if then I have to reply, you know.
Mr. Zaka, this is not acceptable.
Let's
cannot be allowed.
Shehzad, 30 seconds.
I have
to wrap up. I've got commercial commitments as well. Shehzad, 30 seconds.
Yeah, you have commercial.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Zaka, this is yet another evidence. I waited my turn, 2 opposition MPs. I waited my turn, but Mr. Manikam Tagore wants to break the rule because Congress party feels it is entitled. They feel they are entitled to stand in defense of Neelam Azad. By the way, it's not me. It's your leaders who are standing in defense by saying बेरोजगारी है, इसलिए ये लोग कर रहे हैं, and therefore you are defending and giving them a Suraksha Kavach. So you answer what is your stake in defending Neelam Azad.
I got to wrap up, but thank you very much to all our guests. We'll see if any business gets transacted or any meaningful discussion happens in the course of the remainder of this winter session, but I doubt it because anyway the session was coming to an end by the end of this week. But